generation. The hero smiled ominously and thought that he would not stop so easily. If he could exchange it for money, he would suck all the life out of the man. Arcus raised his head and said that he had good news for his son. Seeing the frozen grin on the hero's face, the Baron said that he was a little worried about his facial expressions. Lloyd apologized and said that he was just happy. The young man massaged his cheeks and looked at his father in surprise when he reminded him that he still had treasures given to him by the orc tribe. Arcus said that Count Cremo had sent a letter stating that he was ready to buy them for a good price. The boy and the knight looked at the owner of the estate with interest. The hero tilted his head thoughtfully. He touched his chin and noted that it was strange, because for such a sum the count could easily find new treasures. The father replied that he did not know the details, but the buyer mentioned something about a bronze statue. The trading city of Cremo. The man in the cloak stood and looked out the window. The Count of Cremo frowned. The moon was shining above the water's surface. Suddenly, something appeared on the surface of the water. The man jerked and frowned. The water rose and a large monster with claws appeared from it. The Count squinted, looking at the Titan Giga. Xavier reported to the Baron that they would sail in a week. The work to restore the water supply in the territory of Rakona was almost complete. The knight folded his hands behind his back and added that, in order to minimize the cost of moving, only 10 people would go with them. Arcus trimmed a bush and replied that it was good if Lloyd decided so. The man fell silent. The swordsman looked closely at the master and promised to look after his son. The Baron said that when the knight Kernot arrived here and began to threaten and demand half of the Morez lands, then before he would have simply given everything up out of fear. Arcus looked at the plant and added that he had become braver thanks to Lloyd and their efforts. He said that he was initially an indecisive and incapable person. The boy looked at the gentleman in shock and assured him that this was not true. Xavier said that the Baron was the kindest person who was always worried about others. It was he who once sheltered a boy who later became a talented knight. The nobleman smiled and thanked him for the kind words. However, the man said that it was hard to be a good lord with only such a meager supply